So thank you very much for this opportunity for SLINTEC, and of course, talk about some of the things that we have been doing in the last couple of years. So although this is more into health care topic, I would try to cover areas, technology as a whole, and what really triggers and why science and technology is required for a country development. So I will cover that not essentially into healthcare, but into a lot of other areas as well. So let me start with these figures. I think some of you may have even seen this. This is nothing new for some people, especially who are into science and technology in Sri Lanka, and also the people who know about Sri Lankan exports. So generally, the exports in a country is segregated into high tech or high complex, then medium complex, medium tech, or low complexity. So if you look at those definitions, so generally high tech means electronics, car manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, nanotechnology, biotechnology, all sort of things. So in 1970s, the high tech exports as a percentage of total exports in Sri Lanka was around 1%. But that was not the really negative side of it. The real negative side of that is actually when this particular data came in 2014, that was done by Harvard University. Our high-tech exports as a total percentage of total exports still hovering around 1%. It says 2% here, but actually it's about 1.7%. So over a period of nearly 45 years, it has not changed much. So I think that's a bit of alarming bit of statistics, and everyone knows that if you really want to move in the ladder in terms of from a developing country to a developed country, science and technology is essential, and also you have to change the scope of your export from low complexity to high complexity. So one of the if you really want to learn a lot more on this, I think one of the person that you should study is well-known Professor Ricardo Hausmann from Harvard University. And he has been telling, he has done individual studies on country perspective, especially Sri Lanka. He has visited here about six times and done a lot of studies on this area. So if you can see some of the countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, not so far from Sri Lanka. In fact, they were maybe below Sri Lanka maybe a couple of decades ago. In fact, now improving in terms of high-tech export. For example, Vietnam now, these are of course 2014 figures, has 4%. Now I think it's a little bit more than that. And Thailand closing around 20%. But Sri Lanka, of course, the figures have improved a bit, but then again, it's still not too far from where it says in 2014. So this is the what at SLINTEC, Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, trying to change. And just to give you how we are going to do it. In fact, one of the things that we realized is over many years that you can't get into high tech in any field. So that doesn't work. Even if you get into any high tech field, then there is a problem where you have to compete with a lot of other countries who have already developed those technologies for many years, and they are in a certain level that it's very difficult to compete with. So what we realized is we need some areas of intrinsic knowledge, and of course our resources, raw material, or anything. It could be certain indigenous knowledge. So if you can build on that and then grow the high-tech part out of that, then we see there's a definite chance of even competing with the countries and other companies who are actually doing well. So this is where SLINTEC is working on right now. For example, you can see some of the things that on the picture. For example, Sri Lanka talks about the best quality graphite over 150 years now, right? We have been exporting, and the people who buy all over the world knows that our graphite, which is known as vein graphite, the only vein graphite deposit globally is in Sri Lanka only. So our quality levels are very high. Then if you talk about products like cinnamon, even 2000 years ago, pharaohs of Egypt used to take our cinnamon. There are records, even written records also, how cinnamon came from Sri Lanka to Egypt. And then many countries, like for example Portuguese and Dutch, and even after that even the Europeans, the three Europeans, they came, I mean, of course they came for other reasons, but in fact they stayed in Sri Lanka because of cinnamon. So because cinnamon in Sri Lanka is unique globally, and then you can't find the same type of the species in any other places in the world. So that really triggered a lot of both the changes in the Sri Lankan history. For example, the Portuguese wanted to stay in Sri Lanka, then the Dutch wanted to stay in Sri Lanka, even after that the British stayed in Sri Lanka. So there are some intrinsic qualities of our raw material, and also the knowledge that we prepare has really helped. There is advantage. So we realized this. So on the right hand side, there's another product. Actually, this is a product that I was one of the co-founders in this particular project called Gendo. So what we tried to do was basically, we know this indigenous knowledge of our Vedamahatya or the doctor, Sri Lankan doctors. So this is not the Western medicine, but this is more Ayurvedic type medicine. And we realized that there's a particular way that they try to understand the health of a person. Just like when a doctor comes and tests you, the Ayurvedic or the Sri Lankan doctors, the indigenous doctors, they have a method. They hold your arm, especially the wrist area, and they try to identify a lot of problems in your body just holding your wrist. So we thought there's some science behind it. So in fact, what we tried to do was we read a lot of articles related to your cardiovascular system, and we came up with a method. So this is actually now at ethical testing level. We have done about 1,000 patients testing. We got the US and Japanese patent on this product. And what we are trying to do is basically to identify, without taking blood, your cardiovascular health. So this is actually just a 10 to 15 minutes test. You get all the pulses from a pulse oximeter. Then it runs through a electronic signal processor, and then of course there's software behind it connected to AI, and we try to identify your blood circulation and the cardiovascular system. It's a screening test. It's not a diagnosis, but it's a screening test to and also to identify probable issues in your system. It could be heart attacks. It could be even beyond cardiovascular system, for example, kidney related. So all that can be understood with this very short test. So now it's almost ready to go to market. But then what we developed, we developed this project based on the intrinsic knowledge that we had for many years in Sri Lanka. So let's move on to more details about SLINTEC. I think I mentioned about the graphite side. So based on the graphite knowledge we had for over 150 years, and also the intrinsic quality that we had, so SLINTEC developed something unique in terms of, that we have been exporting graphite as it is over 150 years, and what we get merely about $1.4 per kilo, even though the quality levels are very high. But then we realized there's a lot of value addition that can be done, and without doing small value additions, SLINTEC went and did this graphite to graphene transfer. Of course, graphene is now known as a wonder material. A lot of countries sort of trying to get hold of technologies related to graphene, because graphene is known into many applications. Of course, it's a developing area, And SLINTEC went and developed this own graphite to graphene transfer methodology, and what we came up was basically in 2017 we came up with the technology, and also later the patent, international patents. And now what we have is actually not just a technology, but we have a lot of other things. For example, if you can look at on this picture, we have one of the largest graphene manufacturing plants now at SLINTEC in the region. And also not only the plant, but then we are developing a lot of other research on top of that from the graphene, because even at the end of the day, graphene also is a raw material. Of course, you can get, compared to graphite, you can get more than $1,000 per kilo now when you export graphene. So that's high-tech product. But we are not stopping there only from graphene, but we are developing a lot of other products, end customer products. And one of the products you can see is actually on your right. We added a little bit of graphene into one of the electrodes, and we came up with a much high performing lead acid battery. Now it's actually at beta testing level. We have given about 400 batteries to about 400 customers. So we are trying to get their feedback. What we know is that charge acceptance level has increased about 30%. And also the water loss of a normal lead acid battery, which is one of the biggest problems, has reduced by about 20 to 30%. And the lifetime has increased in considerable times. In fact, about 2 times to 3 times of a normal lead acid battery. So, and also I think there are so many other developments that we are doing is based out of graphene that we developed in this particular factory or the plant. So let's moving on to some of the things that we developed, and of course seen in the last couple of years, especially during COVID time. So this is one good example. It's a big technology. It's a known thing. What we did was just a reverse engineering part. But then when COVID hit in 2019 March, we were never really ready for it, and there was a major issue. Every country was, stockpiling the swabs that are required for normal testing, and then we couldn't get anything, even from China or any other country. So what we developed was, from our own knowledge, within about few weeks, we developed a swab. Of course, Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology is actually, our expertise lies in material science. So with our material science knowledge, and also from the various partners that we have already connected, we developed this swab. Not only that, we developed that swab. At the moment, we have produced. We have our own production facility. Also, we have produced about 400,000 swabs kits, and sent it to Sri Lankan healthcare. And we got everything, the approval from National Medicine Regulatory Authority, which is NMRA, that is Sri Lanka's regulatory body for all the medical related products. And we went through the entire cycle within a short period of time. And not only that, we developed our facilities, not for just R&D, but also for production capability as well. Then this is the next product that we did. Then the problem came that, we need to do testing, more testing, less time, low cost. So then we came up with 3 different types of research. The top one is the one that we are almost ready to go to market now. This is a lamp product, which is actually, again, not an invention. This is already available. But what we did was we used the knowledge globally found. So we connected to one of the European open source forum, got the knowledge and developed it within a very short period of time. Now the product is actually, again, NMRA approved, and the product is ready to go to market. And parallelly, we are developing 2 other testing methods. You can see that the one on the bottom is actually a sensor-based one, and the sensor is actually, we are trying to use again graphene as a sensor. So this is ongoing research, and also the lamp product is now almost ready to go to market, which we can have COVID testing low cost and in a rapid time. So usually we can cut down about 2 to 3 hours of normal PCR testing time. And in fact, what is now known is actually LAMP method is much more durable and much more the sensitivity and wise, it's much better than the normal PCR testing. So this is what Biman mentioned. I think I don't want to reiterate. I think this is what we developed with Circ Technologies. It's the smart mass sensor. And it's, of course, the sensor part is done at SLINTEC. And then, of course, the Biman and Circ Technology did the electronics, the IoT part, and also the software side. And now it's already in the production level. We have already got orders from outside Sri Lanka. So it's a product that is already gone into market. It's again a high-tech product from Sri Lanka. So these are some of the other products that we developed and taken into market. So we did a lot of research on to antimicrobial and anti-viral products. These we were doing for some time now, but then with COVID, we had the urge to take it to market. So one of the first product we market was this antimicrobial stationery ware with Atlas. This is already in the market. You can buy this product. It's a book cover with an antimicrobial coating. And then also the latest product is with Multilac. We launched this special spray, which has even antiviral effect, which we tested in one of the labs in the UK as well. So these are some of the products that are coming out for probably connected to healthcare and also connected to the current issues that we face with the pandemic. So with the pandemic, it's not just about healthcare issues, but then we knew that there's a much bigger economic issue that is coming up, which is already we have felt as a country. And also, I think one of the recent times there were certain changes done by the government. I think one of the things is stop agrochemicals coming into the country. So we were actually ready with these kind of changes that might happen in the future, because anyway, when the government came to the current government came into power, they were talking about a lot of the reduction of agrochemicals into the country and also promoting organic fertilizer and organic technologies for agri-tech. So we have been developing these technologies for a long period of time. So we have about 9 to 10 products already ready to certain level, at certain level of, I mean, some products are actually even ready to go to market even now. Some products are the bench level, the R&D level is over, but maybe a bit of development is required to do. So these are some of the things that we have been looking at partnering with various companies in Sri Lanka to take to market, especially given the situation that there's a lot of emphasis into organic and also to mitigate agrochemicals usage in the country, in the Sri Lankan agriculture. So that's the end of my presentation. So I didn't want to take a lot of time into details, but then again, it's of course during the Q&A time, maybe I also can answer some of the questions. So this is how SLINTEC has been helping on taking high-tech products to market, and of course to help Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan development, because we all know that we are, as a country, we are stuck in a sort of situation that we are not neither developed nor developing. So it's in a we call it in a trap that we are right now. So only way out is basically focused on high-tech products and bring out higher portion of foreign exchange to the country. So I think SLINTEC as the #1 technology and science and technology institute in the country, as a private-public partnership, we are focusing only that in the last couple of years, and in fact about last 12 years. So these are some of the things which are brewing in the facility. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and hope to be in touch with the session for the next couple of hours also. Thank you.